everybody wants to make money, and I think that was the thing I struggled with. I mean, every day I was just watching my bank account drain, so I was like so desperate to make money.
One thing I found like with Carly and I is like, Carly's on a lot of our sales calls now. As soon as Carly says something about like, oh yeah, my husband's the founder and like we started this together, we like, he's in another room over there. Almost instantly, it's a total switch.
I guess I kind of took it extreme. I saved up as much money as I could over the course of like 3 to 4 months and ended up quitting and had no idea what I was going to do. First couple of weeks, I was sitting at a cafe every day, just scrolling YouTube, just sifting through all the gurus, and eventually came across this kid that was, going to tell me how to make however much a month with Google reviews. So I found your model, started getting involved in your course, and just been, grinding every day since then.
What's up, party people? Today we've got Hayden from the HighLevel House community hopping on. Hayden joined the community around March, and Hayden is crushing it, slowly but surely growing his reputation agency. Hayden, how you doing today?
Doing well, man. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Hayden has been one of the most consistent people in our community, consistently showing up on calls, consistently engaging in the community, consistently asking questions, consistently just trying to grow. And so I wanted to just briefly introduce Hayden, saying that, hey, he, works hard, he shows up and does what he says he wants to do. But I want to hear from Hayden. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, man. So I graduated last year. I went to school up at Michigan State. And after that, I think like a lot of, recent graduates, I had absolutely no idea what I was going to do. I majored in like government and politics and just, kind of, is how it sounds. I didn't really enjoy it. I ended up moving back home because I didn't have any money and kind of just got back home and had no clue what I was going to do. And so I just started applying for jobs. Kind of wound up in this sales job and thought I was going to be doing one thing. The title was like, sales and marketing entry level. So I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome and be in a, nice office, and ended up walking around Walmarts in New Jersey and Philadelphia selling energy to people walking around the store. So you can imagine like, you're getting your groceries and I walk up to you and try to switch your energy supplier. And it was a crazy experience. I think it was in a number of ways. So number one, it was like, basically I would talk to like anywhere between like 300 to 500 people a day. And I mean, sales, you can imagine 99% of those either told me to, jump off a bridge or screw off or whatever else. And then, but it was at the same time, if you got 3, 4, or 5 people to say yes, you made like $600. And it was just kind of a switch that flipped in my brain where it was like, wow, this whole sales thing, might be the route to go. But yeah, I really hated it. I mean, it wasn't fun. I didn't like driving into an office. I didn't like being, told what to do, what to wear, things like that. I know really nobody does. So I guess I kind of took it extreme. I saved up as much money as I could over the course of like 3 to 4 months and ended up quitting and had no idea what I was going to do. So I kind of found the cheapest location I could, and that was Indonesia. And I moved there and started trying to figure out how to build a business. So yeah, it was first couple of weeks I was sitting at a cafe every day, just scrolling YouTube, just sifting through all the gurus, and eventually came across this kid that was, going to tell me how to make however much a month with Google reviews. So I found your model, started getting involved in your course, and just been, grinding every day since then.
That's crazy. Okay, are you still in Indonesia?
No, so I came back after about 5 months because it was just absolutely, it was brutal with the time zone. So I would set like sales, because it's pretty much exactly flipped from the US. So I would set a sales call for like, either like 11 p.m. or like 4 in the morning, and then get up at 3:45 to get ready, and then they wouldn't show up. And it was horrible. So I came back for the summer, and at the summer I was still only making about probably like 1.5K per month, which is obviously, not enough to live in the US. So I moved down to Central America, and I'm actually still here right now, but have grown since then, obviously, and looking forward to just, continuing the progress.
Bro, you are the digital nomad, man. You're living that laptop lifestyle.
Yeah, and I know the whole digital nomad thing it's like an interesting, I don't know, there's all sorts of like stereotypes around it. I guess my goal isn't necessarily to just see as many places as I can or travel, but it's more so like, I mean, wherever I am, I'm spending like 11 or 12 hours a day just sitting at the computer calling and, meetings and the rest of the thing. So it's really just, where can I go where it's cheap enough to live, and also I'm all in. Like I don't want to do this as a side gig. I don't want it to be a
Yeah.
side hustle. Like I've decided based on what I've seen in your course and the results that I've had so far, like this is it, man. This is my ticket to the life I want. So I'm all in.
Hell yeah. Okay. So that's awesome. What was the decision? Okay, I've got a couple things because selling energy at Walmart is crazy. Okay, so
Oh man.
how did they figure out that this is the best way to talk to the most amount of people? And how does Walmart not kick you out? Like, how does that work?
Oh, they did. I actually did get kicked out one day. But so the whole gig is I was working for, and I won't, name the company, but I was working for basically a broker, kind of a sales team broker. So kind of think of like in-person Wolf of Wall Street. Like that's kind of what it felt like. So these guys partner up with huge companies. I was working under a company called NRG, which is like a massive energy supply company in the United States. They actually, I'm not too involved in, I don't know that much about football, but whatever the Houston football team is, they like own the stadium. So huge
Excellent.
company, and they do energy supply. So there's kind of like the supply side of your energy bill and the delivery side, and they run all the supplies. So basically the gig was you walk through kind of low income grocery stores, Walmart, and you walk up to somebody and say, "Hey, we're giving a gift card out to anybody that has, basically the opposing supply company. So any of the competitors." And so you'd name their competitor, obviously, they were under them. And throughout the next like 5 to 10 minutes, you basically explain that you're giving them the gift card while also switching their supplier to NRG. And it was really tough. So, sometimes you get through and you're halfway through and you're signing somebody up, and then they're like, wait a second, like what's going on here? And then some people are confused, and it just felt I just didn't like it. It felt kind of scammy, and
Yeah,
yeah, it was tough.
that's really interesting. So was it just like them? I'm just like enamored with this. We will get to other stuff,
Yeah,
I swear. But
100%.
was it just like them signing a document saying, yes, we're going to switch your address over to our supply?
100%. So literally, like I had a tablet, and you would get them to, it's just crazy. Like this is when kind of a switch happened in my mind, because I would walk up to somebody getting groceries, and within like 10 minutes, I was scanning their driver's license, pulling up all their information, like switching it for them, having them sign a thing that says it's cool. And like, don't get me wrong, like these people, like they knew what was happening, but it's just kind of a shady business to where like some people, you're going after, and not a knock on Walmart. Like I love Walmart, but it's in terms of the income level, it's going to be people that are, more likely interested in a gift card. So to catch the attention, and then, throughout that process, kind of switch it up. But yeah, it was pretty brutal, man. I'm not gonna lie. It was just nose to the face all day long, which also I found just makes you incredibly resilient mentally when you feel like you can kind of conquer the world once you do that for 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah. No, geez. Yeah, I bet. I'm gonna fuck with you after 300 people tell you,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
So you
exactly.
got kicked out of Walmart. What was that like?
There was just a weird policy where they have an agreement where Walmart's in on it. So you switch somebody over and they're getting a cut of it. So that's
Oh.
that's yeah, so that's the whole reason why they allow these sales guys to be in there. But I remember one day, I guess, I don't know, somebody probably got pissed or thought I was just bothering them, which I mean, that's, I guess, the nature of sales is you're always just kind of bothering somebody somewhere. But told the manager, and they kicked me out. And yeah, but it was, I mean, when I say I know that it happened for a reason now, and just the sales experience in general, like on Black Friday, I made $1,000, and I just remember that in my head. I was like I'm walking around Walmart, and I'm like, it was just kind of like a mind blowing experience where it was
Yeah,
like, maybe I don't have to do grad school, or maybe I don't have to,
yeah,
climb like a corporate ladder. Like if I can do this and make money, like I've got to be able to figure this out on my
yeah,
own to where, I can sell something that I like and that actually helps people. And so here
for
I
s
am.
for sure, yeah, I mean, going from selling that, which, I mean, sounds like, honestly, it was kind of a negligible change, whether it's just, like, whoever's supplying it,
Yeah, for sure.
but it's still, like, going from selling that, which is, like, okay, to selling to help people, I bet is so much easier, and so,
100%.
obviously, there's different, you're not given a gift card, it's not, it might, the onboarding's a little bit harder, you know that, and
Oh
whatever,
yeah.
but yeah, okay, so also I wanna touch on originally, if you don't mind me asking, was there any thought of you just staying back with your parents, or were you like, "No, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna leave, I'm gonna get out of this environment, I'm gonna go all in"?
That was it. Yeah, for me, I just needed to be like, I needed to be in a new place. I needed to be somewhere where I think I love the US. The US is amazing, and I eventually would love to have a family there, but I think it's a great place for, startups and companies that have backing, but when you're just the dude that's like you're just in your mom's basement, like, starting a business, I think friends, family, and everybody else around, it can be very hard just with all the voices. So, in my mind, I just thought like, "Hey, if I can get somewhere where basically it's just me and I can just work on my own mindset and have nobody telling me that I'm doing the wrong thing, that
Yeah.
would be beneficial." And it really was. I mean, it's isolating in different sorts of ways, but also just not having those, like, negative opinions on your brain it's super valuable.
Jeez, okay, yeah, kudos to you for burning the fucking boots, man.
Thanks, man.
That's huge. I think, that's been something that I don't think I've ever had the cojones to do, and I think even now, I still feel like I probably miss out on upside because I am constantly kind of avoiding the worst case scenario, like, constantly de-risking from the worst ever, but you're just like, "Fuck it, move across the world, we'll figure it out."
I don't know, and it's just one of those things too. I think throughout this whole experience, I've realized like, worst comes to worst, you can always get a job, you can always kind of do whatever, but like, why not? Like
Yeah,
why not,
yeah,
do the thing? And I think so many people. I mean, I listen to the Joe Rogan Experience a lot, and one thing I heard in like high school that he said was a quote that he said that always just like keeps me up. He said, "Most men lead lives of quiet desperation." And I just remember hearing that and just being like literally, what's the downside? I have nothing to lose. I'm 22 or whatever. I don't have any kids. I don't have a wife. Like, just go for it. And even if you do, like, still, like, what's like, do you want to get to the end of your life and just think you never went for it for what reason? Like, there's
yeah.
just like you just have to try.
Yeah, hell yeah. Okay, I love it. And so now you are in Central America, right?
Yep.
And you were in Indonesia for a bit, and you found my YouTube videos, watched some YouTube videos, joined the community, and got
Yeah.
started with the level. Did you have any digital marketing experience at all before, or had you like try and do anything, or just the sales experience?
Just a sales experience. I remember in the fall, this past fall, I had watched a ton of, Google Ads videos and how to start a Google Ads agency, but I never done any outreach. It was more so just kind of, the scrolling around and constantly looking at different business ideas. But it just when I came across your video, like the thought of coming to somebody and saying, "Hey, I can help you get more of this thing that everybody likes." It's kind of a feel good thing. Like, you get these reviews, it helps you actually get more customers. And then
Yeah,
thinking about that versus like, I'm going to come to somebody and say, "Hey, pay me $2,000 a month." And then also, spend X amount on
yeah,
ads. It's so overwhelming. And something like this, I feel like it's such an easier, more manageable thing mentally to think about doing. So
yeah. Well, and it's so tangible too. It's like, okay, you're doing Google
yep.
Ads and you're delivering the leads, but it's like, what if they suck at closing, right?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
reviews, it's like, we told you to get your reviews, we got your reviews. We don't have to worry about them, closing those reviews into sales or something like the leads would be.
Yeah.
And so you didn't really know high level, right? You hadn't really used high level before?
Not at all, not at all. I saw your videos and then pretty much immediately signed up for the community, and then after that, it was like a straight month of just, like, how do I do this? I've been on so many support calls
Yeah,
and all the rest of the stuff of, like, literally, how do I do this? Because you open it up and it's confusing. I mean, it's super overwhelming,
yeah,
and I think especially starting with now I realize months later that being able to start with something super niche and just figuring out how to do one thing that you can sell is, like, so valuable because it kinda takes all the rest of it away. So, no,
yeah,
I had no idea what I was doing, but going through your videos step by step, it was so easy to just, follow along and kind of, you just plug in the next thing. And then yeah, it took me about almost 2 months to get my first client. I was doing outreach every day and just didn't really know I kinda knew the basics of sales, but had never done it, across a screen from somebody and all the
yeah.
rest. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so you didn't know high level, were able to figure out getting set up. Kudos to you. People think that it's impossible to learn. It's obviously not. And now that you
Yeah.
know now that you've been using it for a little while, I'm sure you get in there and you're like, I can't imagine a day when I didn't know what I was doing in here. That's kind of like
100%.
that's kind of like how I am with HighLevel. It's funny, Carly, my wife, her learning HighLevel as well. She's like, I don't know how you do it with like the support calls or with like
Yeah,
the calls on the community where we're like click like, hey, click here, and I'm like pointing.
right.
Right? I don't know how you do it, and it's like, I mean, I totally forget that feeling of not knowing what to do in there because
Oh, yeah,
it's been so long.
100%.
Like, once you get it, you get it, and I wish there was a good way to, like, translate. I wish there was a good way to distill, like, the couple things you need to know in high level, because there really are. I don't know what they are, but there really are some, like, foundational principles of learning, like, how to troubleshoot, how to fix what you need to fix, and if you can just learn those things and you can be persistent enough, you will figure everything else out.
100%, and that's kinda what I remember. Setting up a calendar for me took like a straight week, honestly. I just couldn't figure out how to set up the calendar, how to how to send a meeting link, all the
Yeah,
rest of this stuff, like, it's so overwhelming, and
yeah,
anybody that's thinking about starting it, like, it is so overwhelming, and you just slowly have to kind of chip away at, like, you come back and you're like, "Okay, I understand it a little bit better," and now, like you said, I can't imagine, like, going back to that. It's just so confusing at the start, but yeah.
yeah. But once you got it, you got it. And so you're getting high level set up, and you said you did like a month and a half, 2 months of outreach.
Yeah.
So what was the outreach strategy you started with? I know that we'll dive into what you're doing now and what's working well, but what'd you
Yeah.
kinda start with, and what were you kinda getting rocking and rolling?
Yeah, so I started with Instagram DM, and
Okay.
I thought at the very beginning that I was solely gonna focus on, like, yoga studios, gyms, things like that. So I was like, "Okay, well, I can get through to them on Instagram." So I think part of that was just me not wanting to cold call and being
Yeah.
scared of that, because I think
Yeah.
it's kinda like a sly way of just not having to actually pick up the phone and dial
100%.
somebody, but it just felt so manual, and I know that there are ways that you can, like, automate it and stuff, but I was just individually sending like 50, 100 DMs every day to different businesses, and ended up getting I got my first 2 clients that way, and then after like 2 months, like I said, I got the first one, and a couple weeks later, I got the next one. After like 2 months, I was like, "Okay, I have to figure out something else that's not just." It took so long to do that every day, and then also, I think Instagram just shadow banned me after it probably noticed that my account was just sending out, like,
Yeah.
thousands of
True.
DMs to people, and it stopped going through, so yeah,
Yeah.
that's kinda what I was doing then, but I don't do that anymore.
Gotcha. And then did you move straight into cold calling, or what'd you do next?
I would do cold calling is so, like, I remember telling myself, I was like, "Okay, I'm not doing this anymore. I need to start calling," and I would be like, "Okay, tomorrow I'm gonna do 30 cold calls to local business," and then, tomorrow would come, and it would be the next day, you find an excuse. You're like, "Oh, it's probably not." I'm looking up, like, what are the best times to cold call businesses. It's like, well, it looks like I missed the best window,
Missed
so I
the
shouldn't.
window today.
Yeah, so shouldn't do it today, so yeah, so I think next it was I did some, like, super local, like, sending SMS out to local businesses just from my phone and trying to connect with people that way, and then also a little bit of cold calling, but I still didn't really have too much success, so and then also I did kind of the Hormozy way of, pick up your phone, go through your whole contacts list. So my first, like, 2 clients were off of the Instagram, and then the next 2 came from a barbershop owner that super good family friend, and then a landscaping company who's also, like, a good family friend. But it wasn't like I was so nervous to reach out to them because obviously, I wanted to everybody wants to make money, and I think that was the thing I struggled with at first was, like, I was just so I mean, every day I was just watching my bank account drain, so I was, like, so desperate to make money, but, like, once I realized that I just kinda like you talk about too, is, like, you have to just, deliver value without that expectation, and then business will come to you. So, basically what I did, and what I would recommend to anybody that's starting, is literally just do it for free. Like, say, like, whether it's 2 weeks, a month, do it for free, and that's exactly what I did with those guys, and what it did was it gave me kind of a lower stakes way of doing an onboarding, setting them up, not worrying as much if something gets screwed up because their money's not on the line. So it was just a lot easier mentally to do it for free. And then after a couple weeks of doing it, like the barber shop, for example, I think had gotten 100 or 200 reviews, and it was kind of just got back on a call like, "Hey, do you want to keep this going? I'm probably going to have to start charging for this." and it was just kind of a no-brainer, and she's still a client now. So yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, and I think people probably don't understand enough how much more you're getting out of those first couple
Yeah.
deals than the business owner is. Like, even if you get them a bunch of reviews, like, that's great. That's gonna be great for the
Yep.
business, definitely 100%. But, like, there are 1,000 small things that you will pick up on after onboarding 10, 15, 20, 30 customers, and doing a lot of those for free or on a free trial or something, it's just gonna put you in such a better mental state, and put them
100%.
in a better mental state too, would be a little bit more forgiving. And I think, like, one thing I wanted to ask, like, do you use your story in sales calls? Like, do you use your story in onboarding calls? Because one thing I found, like, with Carly and I is, like, Carly's on a lot of our sales calls now. As soon as Carly says something about, like, "Oh, yeah, my husband's the founder, and, like, we started this together. We, like he's in another room over there." Almost instantly, it's a total switch of, like,
Okay.
I'm, like, working with some massive company, and I've got my guards up to, like, "Oh, this is, like, a family-run business," or whatever. You use that story enough or not really?
So, in terms of the aspects of the story that I use, definitely, I think anybody that's starting a business, just naturally, you're gonna encounter so many problems and so many things that are common issues, like, regardless of the service industry. So, like, whether it's, like, bad customers or just I mean, anybody that's starting a business, like, I guess to everybody else, you probably seem like an idiot or you seem insane because it's just one of those things where, like, you're the only one that can really believe in yourself. So I think in terms of that, I can really connect with guys on. And then also, I'm just super I mean, even now, like, I'm super honest, like, "Hey, I pretty much just graduated college, like, I'm just starting a business." And honestly, I've found that that is one of, like, the number one things that I feel like has helped me get customers and connect with people is they understand that, like, you're new. And I think a lot of people would honestly, even, with that, I think a lot of people, like you said, would way rather go with the guy that's local and has, like, 3 clients as opposed to, like, the national company that basically is gonna sign you up and then just hope that you never never reach out to them again. So,
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, like Mosey says, obviously, there's strategic advantages from every position, no
for
matter
sure.
where you are, and so I think it's just leaning into whichever one you have. If you are the person with 1,000 clients, lean into the fact that, "Hey, you've done this 1,000 times. I know exactly how
Yep,
it works. I know you're gonna get results." If you haven't, say, "Hey, you're not just gonna be a number to me." If you've got 3 customers, say, "Hey, you're gonna be my 4th." That means that you're taking up 25% of my
yep.
I will help you, you know? And so just
Yeah, absolutely.
lean into whatever you got, because especially in the beginning, you've gotta have something to hold on to, and it is crazy how much that can soften people up sometimes to kinda get the ball rolling and get onboarded. And so reached out to friends and family. When did you start really pounding the phones and cold calling?
I started really this summer. So beginning of July, like, I was about, I think, like, 3 or 4 months into it. I had, like, I think I was at, like, just under 1,000 MRR, like 900, and I remember getting back to the US and just being with family, and I was like, "Okay, like, I have to just, like, just completely take this seriously because kinda what I was doing, and a lot of people can probably relate with the outreach is just, like, saying you're gonna do it and then just not keeping a promise to yourself, and every time you do that, it just gets so much easier to blow it off the next day. So, I basically just set a minimum amount. I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna do 50 calls a day, no matter what, like, I don't care if it's 8 PM, I have to do this." And just, like, immediately once I just started doing the thing, naturally, you get more conversations, somebody inevitably is gonna be interested, and I just started booking way more meetings.
Yeah.
And then from there, it was like with the onboarding side or just pretty much any part of it is just once you start getting reps, like, you just start to get it a little better, and you start to, like, on the phone, you start to kinda understand how the other person is feeling on the other side and how you can kinda come at the call and how you can say different things to where it's a lot, you know, less seeming of a commitment because if you cold call somebody and you say, "Hey, I'm a marketing agency and I'm trying to sell you something," like, I feel like, at least for me, most people are gonna hang up. So just those kind of things. But yeah, I got back and I just started going as hard as I could and setting in-person meetings. I remember I drove, like, 2 hours one way just to close a client that was for 97 bucks a month, and I was like, "I don't care. I need to," just like, just like everybody says and like you said in your community, it's just like brick by brick, man. Just
Yeah.
keep going.
Literally, literally brick by brick, because I can't tell you can't tell you how many times I've thought that same thought where it's like, I just did all of this for, a 90
Yeah.
month client. But then
Yeah.
like you look at it and like over the long term, as long as they are a good fit and they have customers and you can integrate and you're actually getting them reviews and stuff. And like you go to our Stripe account now and the amount of people that have paid us over $2,000 that we've helped on one, maybe two calls with is
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy. And that in-person stuff is like we did an onboarding call the other day in person for a very tiny client. They're not really even a good fit, but they're kind of local. And like it was long. It wasn't an amazing integration. He wasn't having
Right.
it wasn't the way it should have been. It was just kind of gross a little bit. It just wasn't
Yeah.
right. It's just like it's honestly more the principle of it. Like, hey, this is what we do. Like we are gonna show up. We're gonna do our absolute best to give this person a great experience. And you know what? We might not get them a bunch of reviews, but we can use them as a referral or a review or something like that from there on
Dude,
out.
100%. I mean, I remember I cold called this one guy, like, about a month ago now, and he no-showed. Also, that's just another note, like, it's crazy how many times you have to follow up with these guys to get them on a call and then to be able to actually, like,
For
get
sure.
them set up, and it's not always that they just don't wanna talk to you, like, local business owners, especially the home service industry, they're just I mean, whenever when their phone rings, like, they're gone, and so if they set a meeting, at any point, they just have to leave, but just on that, like, I was so fed up and tired of following up with this guy, and I finally got him onboarded, and since then, realized that he has another location of the same business that I've now onboarded, and he has, like, a winter specific businesses, so just, like, that
Yeah.
one guy now has 3 different accounts that are all signed up, so it's like, you just never know until you actually, put in the inputs, and then things are gonna come from it.
Dude, 100%. Yeah, so I think going back to doing the calls and saying like, I said I was gonna do it and I didn't end up doing it. I think I was like that for the longest time. So I never really cold called that much. I did a
Uh-huh.
lot of local outreach and then I did, a lot of ads and then
Yeah.
some more kind of cold outreach for a little bit. But I never called, but I always was telling myself I was gonna call. And I remember like when I graduated college and Carly and I had just gotten married and we got our apartment, and our apartment was like the rent was like $2,000 a month. And
Yeah.
I was making like I had like one client that was paying me $2,000 a month and had like just
Right.
random marketing side gigs that were coming, here and there. And Carly worked full time at Lululemon and she was making more money than I was at the time. She was like
Yeah.
the assistant manager. And I was like, I had that feeling of like, oh man, she's supporting us whatever. And
Right.
like, but I knew like balls to bones, I knew that I was gonna figure this shit out,
Yep.
And so but I told myself every day, "I'm gonna cold call, I'm gonna cold call, I'm gonna cold," and I never did it, and then one day I was like, "Fuck it, I don't care whether they answer and I absolutely botch it, I am calling," and I
Bring
called
it.
for, like, 2 or 3 hours, like, 220 people. I did the same thing the next day, the same thing the next day. I think I booked, like, 3 or 4 calls. I think maybe one
Uh-huh.
person showed up. Like, it didn't have great results from it, but what the most important thing was, like, "Alright, I know I can do it now." I can do it, like,
$100%.
it's not and when you make that promise, say, "I'm gonna do this," and you don't do it, you just lose faith in yourself, and after showing up, saying, "Hey, tomorrow I'm gonna work for 12 hours," and after me doing that now for 5 years in a row, it's like the amount of confidence that instills in yourself that, "Hey, I'm gonna do what I say I'm gonna do," is just next level.
100%. 100%. I think the biggest thing there, like you're talking about, it's just like, it's just keeping that promise to yourself. Like, when you say that you're going to do something and you actually do it, like,
Yeah,
you just trust yourself more, you become more confident, you feel more confident in what you say just on a day-to-day basis, whether that's like in business or just your personal life, because you know that you're done lying to yourself. And I think it's so easy to just keep saying, even with businesses, like I remember throughout college, like, I remember saying I was gonna do, like, an affiliate marketing business. I was gonna start a blog, and I just kept saying all these things and then not actually, like, doing the work. But if you can just, like you said, just, I'm gonna show up every day, and I'm gonna be in that chair and figure it out 12 hours a day. Like, if you actually do that, you're just going to start getting results because you're putting in the action. It's not just in your mind anymore.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I was the same thing. I said I started a million different businesses in high school and college, and doing that for so long and like not taking action or taking action and quitting and getting shiny object syndrome, it makes you start to feel like shit. I started
Yeah.
to feel like shit about myself. I was like, I don't even believe what I say. Like low self-esteem, not think I can do it, whatever. But just like saying less, like don't say anything, don't say jack diddly. Just like, hey,
Yep.
I'm just gonna do this. No, so no, I love that. But you're doing the sales calls, doing cold calling, getting people on sales calls, whatever. What has been the hardest part about onboarding for you? Like, what have been the challenges that you've faced? Like, all right, so somebody says yes. So
Mm.
now what? What have been those challenges and how have you kind of overcome them to the point now you're at almost 4K MRR?
Yeah, just on the onboarding side, you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the first one is getting people to show up to the onboarding call. So like at the beginning, I was not getting cards on file like on the sales. I was so nervous to do that I would just hope that somebody. I actually, for the first like 5 or 6 clients, I did the entire trial for completely for free before even talking about a card, which honestly I would recommend. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think getting somebody to show up to the call, number one, because if they don't have their card on file, like it's just in their mind, they're still not really that committed. So they can just kind of bow out. And then after that, I had no idea how to connect, like make an integration with the CRM. That just terrified me.
Yeah.
And like having somebody hop on and go through Zapier and all this other stuff. I remember the first 3 or 4 times, like I think I slept like 3 hours the night before because I was just so nervous. And yeah, that's probably been the hardest thing. Now it's a lot smoother, but yeah, I would
Yeah.
say getting somebody on, getting them to join by computer, because for whatever reason, like everybody just joins on their phone, even though you ask them to join by computer, and then setting up that integration. So I would before an onboarding call, I would go watch your video like 3 times through of how to do it. And then I would have another tab open like with your onboarding checklist, like, hey, how do you do it? And on the call, I'd be looking at it like, okay, here's what we're gonna do next. Slowly kind of wading through. I feel like the way that I see it is like you're like the guy in the machete, and like you're just constantly like wading through all of this crap all day and just trying to bushwhack to try and find like some like seamless just one day where it's like I got the sales call, I onboarded them, everything's good, and just slowly but surely just keep pounding away, and it gets a lot smoother for sure.
Yeah, no, and it like, you make that first integration in Zapier, and then, like, the next day you check and see if, like, any records have come through, and, like, you see there's a new contact, and it came through automatically, and you're like it's, like, amazing feeling, like,
Yes.
"Okay,
Yeah.
we
It
did it."
feels so good.
Yeah, or, like, when somebody, like, signs up and shows up to the onboarding call on a computer, knows how to share
Yep.
their screen, and has, like, an easy CRM to integrate with, and has their customer list ready, you're like, "This is the best day ever." And all
100%.
the hard onboarding calls, those
Yeah.
onboarding calls worth it.
Dude, and I didn't know how to pull a card through Stripe on, like, a sub account since, like, literally up until, like, a month and a half ago. And I remember one of my first couple onboarding calls, I had gotten the guy's card on file, and then, like, a couple of days later, onboarded him, and I punched his card through into the sub account to, like, put it on file and add rebilling credits, and I pressed it, and it sent, like, a code to his wife, who is in another state. So I just remember looking at the screen, seeing that, and just kinda sitting there, like, just waiting for him to call his wife and tell me what the it just hoping and praying that it would come through.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That's the worst, like, the verification code that pops up. They're like, "It says don't share this with anybody. Are you sure I
oh,
should share?"
yeah.
Like, well,
Yeah.
it's like you see me doing this, right? Like, I'm doing this, like, for you right now.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're just the guy on the other side of the computer that you're just. I mean, I understand, like, these business owners have been scammed by so many people. This is why this business model is so amazing too, is because you can get on the call, like you talk about, and confidently say to somebody, you're gonna start seeing reviews come in within, like, 24 hours, and you can literally do that. So,
yeah,
within a day, like, they've put their trust in you, and within 24 hours, they're like, "Okay, he's actually doing the thing that he says he's gonna do." And it helps so much because, like you said, I mean, compared to other models too, it's like this is such an immediate results kind of thing where they can see the reviews on their page, they're never going anywhere. And so yeah, that has helped so much. And honestly too, like just back to the just kind of the whole business model, like I have a lot of my clients, I'm kind of a manager on their profile. So I get alerted every time they get a review. So like throughout every day, I'm just getting all these notifications of like 5-star review, 5-star review. It just makes me feel so good too. And
Yeah.
I know it makes them feel great too. So
Oh, 100%.
it's just a very feel good business that genuinely helps people.
Yeah, I think because like, the reviews obviously help them rank higher, more people choose and whatever, but I think something that we probably don't even do enough to emphasize is, like, think about how much we care about our businesses and helping other people get
Yeah.
reviews, but, like, this is their baby as well. Like, this is what they work on all the time, this is what they're dedicated to, and, like, I think I've been trying more and more to kind of fall in love with the avatar that you're serving. Like, hey, I'm serving home service
Right.
business owners, like, understand their struggles, understand that they're showing up late. They're showing up late home every night. They're waking up early, leaving before the
Yep.
sun comes up, getting back when the sun comes down, working hard all along the day, getting called all day from scammers, from marketing agencies, from people
Yep.
just like me or whatever. And like they're working their butts off to provide for their family and try and grow their business. And not all of them like that. Some of them, have scale up their business and they're out of the day-to-day stuff. But it's just like learning their problems and knowing like, hey, when they see a customer they work their butt off for, say something nice about them, like, that makes them feel so good, and, like, we just generated that feeling for them, and because like, you've probably heard it already all the time, it's like, you know, y y'all started doing this, we started getting reviews from people I had asked reviews from. I've asked,
Right.
like, to leave us a review, and now y'all should start giving us the reviews, like, what's up with that?
100%.
But,
100%, yeah, and just to be able to deliver that helps so much, and I watched your last video with Jonathan and talking about, like, how he has, like, a client communication day,
yeah,
which I just started doing. So yesterday was mine. I called all my clients, and I started working with a pest control guy a couple weeks ago, and he had, like, I think, like, 3 or 4 reviews. I remember calling him. I think he's up to, like, 30 now in, like, a couple weeks,
yeah,
and I called him, and he was like, "Man, my phone's blowing up, like, my Google is going crazy. I like, thank you so much." And I just remember sitting there like, this one call, all the no's, all the people like hang up on me, this makes it so worth it. Like being able to actually help this guy, and he's still working a full-time job and trying to move to full-time on his own business. So just connecting on that and then being able to, be that person that is helping him get the business, it's so fulfilling, honestly.
yeah, for sure. Well, alright, so pound on the phones, 50 calls a day. I think you just said now you're gonna start calling 100 calls a day. I think I saw that in your community. Minimum 100
Yeah,
calls a day?
so right before this, I've done about 82 today. I booked 2 meetings, and right after we finish, I'm gonna get back at it, man. You just that's the thing is I've been having a little bit of success now with the 50, so I was like, "Okay, well, how do I get twice as many clients?" And then I just maybe my own math in my brain is like, "All right, well, I just gotta double the amount of calls I'm doing." And maybe that's not true in all ways, but I just kinda like Hormozi talks about too, it's just, do so much volume that it would be unrealistic for you to hit your goals. So that's kinda what I'm doing. I'm trying to push myself a lot harder and see what comes from that.
Yeah, for sure. And what are the plans for, like, the end of the year or maybe this time next year? Like, what goals do you wanna hit?
Yeah, so my big goal is so I started like kind of beginning of March. My big goal is to hit 10K by then.
Mhm.
And regardless, even if I'm not at that specific metric, I know I'm going to push as hard as I can to get there. So
Mm,
that's my goal by the immediate, I guess, near future. And then I would love to start running ads as soon as possible. I think just with the experience now of having done like thousands of cold calls, I think especially when somebody comes in as like a warmer lead, it's going to be
yeah,
so much easier to
yeah,
book them. So I guess hopefully, I mean, my goal is to by the end of the month be around like 4.5 to 5, and then start running some sort of small ads budget, and then next year, man, I'm gonna be on that stage getting that
hell yeah,
SaaSpreneur Award. That's my huge goal.
hell yeah.
So yeah,
No, that would be awesome, dude. I definitely think you can make it there. And I think that one thing that's also so underrated about those cold calls and putting all those reps in is that you are now getting a very good understanding of how these people are thinking, right? And if you can
yeah,
understand like how these people are thinking, what sort of objections they're throwing at you on the onboard, I mean on the cold call, so kind of find like where their frame of mind's at when you're like interrupting their day, and then you can translate that into your advertising. Now you know where they're at when they're completely unaware and just blindsided
yeah.
your ads are gonna be doing, right? And then your
Yep.
ads should I think something like for you that is the easiest, just like the absolute easiest way to get a phone number from a customer or a potential customer, like
Hmm.
probably a lead form with like very little friction, and then
Okay.
just a clear ad with the video and stuff, just to get you, honestly, phone numbers of potential business owners for probably
Right.
$10 a piece. Like, and then you calling them the same minute. Like, I think that would crush for you because that's gonna turn your 100. You'll still probably do your 100 cold calls for a long time, but
Yep.
that's gonna turn 100 cold calls, and then you'll have like 10 warm calls a day,
For
and you'll
sure.
close probably the same amount in the 10 warm calls as you will from 100 cold calls.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And that's the thing too with calling, like you said, is inevitably over, however many calls you do, you're gonna start hearing the same. It's always the same like 3 or 4 objections. It's always like, I'm on the job,
Yep.
I've been scammed before. Does this like would this even benefit me? I usually just, do good work and then my customers leave a review or whatever else. It's like you're gonna hear the same things and get a little bit better each time at kind of sidestepping it and still getting them on the call. But yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to testing out some ads and get, getting people on the phone that at least have a slight idea of who I am before they first hear my name.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But honestly, and I've told people this in the community, if you go and look at all the massive review companies out there, I mean, I say massive, like pretty big review companies like Bird Eye, Podium. I think Bird Eye and Podium don't have a Google Business Profile anymore, but Nice Job, a couple of the other ones out there. Like, if you go look at their 1-star reviews, most of their 1-star reviews were because people were getting cold called by them relentlessly. Now Aloha, it was Review Wave. Great company. Met the guy. They grew, through trade shows and through an outbound dialing team. And so, like,
Okay.
it could be the strategy to scale up cold calls to, hey, instead of doing ads, like, we're gonna get 10 guys to call, because that's how a lot of the other businesses have scaled. So I think about that a
Yeah.
lot. Maybe I'm going at it the wrong way, trying to do it from ads and content. I just would
I mean,
rather
I
figure
think
out.
you're doing all right. But yeah, and that's the thing is you're going to connect with somebody. Like even as impossible as cold calling sounds, it's not. It's just really not. Like you're going to reach somebody that has the problem,
Yep.
that needs your solution, that's willing to get on the call. You just kind of it's kind of like the needle in the haystack. Like you
Sort
never know who's exactly. You never know who's going to pick up. But that's the other thing as well and kind of what pushed me to start cold calling more is being in your community and constantly seeing posts of people that, especially like Frankie, who I know you've had on the call, like
Yeah.
these guys are getting clients and they're calling. So
Yeah.
like, what's like, if they can do it, why can't I, and just doing it, just doing it. So yeah. And I guess I never realized like just how many of these companies actually, do so much calling and that's why, all these softwares exist, why they have dialing softwares, because it works.
Yeah, for sure. And then kinda last thing I wanna touch on is you moved away to a foreign country, kinda burned the boats to go all in on this. I would say that you've got a pretty strong will, and you've got your mindset you're pretty locked in, you're pretty dialed in. And I think that I've had the relentless characteristic of, like, I'm just gonna keep showing up and
Yeah.
freaking pounding every single day, but at times I have lacked that basically that, "Hey, I'm burning the boats," because like I said before, like, I'm trying to constantly de-risk for other stuff. And so how do you keep, and honestly, just to be totally transparent, I think that there's a chance that me put in your situation there, I could have spiraled. Like, I could have
Yeah.
gone, I don't have support around me, I don't have, anything to distract me from it, because I have a very addictive personality, and I can get really, really locked in on stuff, and, like, it's all I think about. And that over the years, I've had some outlets like my wife, Carly, or, like, playing pickleball for a little while, or, like, anything to kinda let me zoom out for a second, which
Right.
probably has helped me mentally be in a better state, probably might have, not been the best for the business at the time. So I wanna
Yeah.
just talk about your mindset of, like, how have you stayed strong going through this alone? I mean, I'm sure hopefully you've met some people overseas and met
Oh,
some.
100%. Yeah, and, no, it's been an amazing experience. I mean, like, I think traveling for anybody that is thinking about traveling, it's like I feel like I've learned more traveling than I ever did in school. Like, it's just such a good way to meet people, to see different cultures, and also just, like, the people that you meet traveling inevitably are gonna be they're gonna be cool because they wanna go experience different things. Yeah, 100%, and honestly, I'd probably still be in Indonesia right now. I can't do the time zone anymore, but I
Yeah.
definitely I don't regret it all, like, traveling, like, it's been It's been super great. Yeah, I think in terms of the mindset, I don't know. I think a couple things go into it. I think just baseline number one, like for me, I just kind of anytime I get down on myself or I'm frustrated or like this past week I've had so many no-shows, it's ridiculous. And I believe me, I think every day and probably anybody that's starting a business can relate to like it's just a roller coaster every day of emotion. But when I think about the alternative for myself, like I guess, kind of something I've heard is you're either working for yourself or you're working for somebody else. And there's nothing wrong with either of those. I think they both have, different perks. But just for me, I don't know. I just think about going back to selling energy, man. Like this is my thing. Like I've found this now where it's not really the I think like just seeing results, like just being able, like getting that first card on file was like the biggest mindset shift
Yeah.
ever. I remember I literally sat every morning and I was like, I'm going to get a client. I'm going to get a client. Like I'm going to do this. And it took me a while, but with that first time I got that card and the payment came through, it was like, man, it's possible. And I think like you just have to get to that point as soon as you can. And it's going to take a while, but yeah, I think it's being able to see some results and then if you can just surround yourself with people, whether that's in person or online that are doing the same thing, and you can see like, hey, obviously Clay is killing it. There are people in the community that are doing this. It's like you're no different. Like, you're no different than anybody else. So yeah, I think it's a few things. I think I'm somebody that's always been like super into like personal development and just
Yeah.
the gym and things like that.
Yeah.
And I remember just feeling super unmotivated in college because I was like, why don't I want to, study the 18th century or whatever else it was. And I finally found something in this where starting this, you're going to learn more, whether it's like the review model or whether it's any sort of business. Like you're going to learn more in such a shorter period of time than you ever have. And so, yeah, man, I think just being motivated, finally seeing some results from it and realizing that you can and that, like there's a light at the end of the tunnel basically is kind of what keeps me going. I listen to a lot of Alex Hormozy and just those like motivational clips with Chris Williams and stuff
Yeah.
like that. They keep me going for sure. So a lot of mornings I just have those playing in the background, but it's just like, yeah, it's like the kind of life I want to live is where I just accomplish things. And this is something where I've set a goal and I know I can accomplish it. And you just got to show up every day. And that's kind of what keeps me going, but it's extremely hard mentally for sure all the
Yeah.
time. And I think anybody that's starting something knows that.
For sure. And I think that, I mean, like you said, personal development, I think a lot of people same way. Like I was listening to personal development books and all that sort of stuff when I was 13 or 14 on Audible on 2x
Right.
speed. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, you know?
Let's go.
So, I'm trying to develop. And I think that entrepreneurship just comes so naturally out of that because it is, I can't think of a better way to develop yourself than to go start a business because it is going to
100%.
be hard every day and it's going to be ups and downs and you're going to have to keep showing up, and at the end of it your business could fail or succeed, but if you showed up and did the actions, and at the end of the day if you built the skills like you built in that first job, you built the skill of sales,
Yeah. Right.
trying to do it 300 times a day, and that's transferred over to this,
Yep.
people, your results, you have created a job that you can work from for wherever. You decide when you get to work. You technically just, if you want to just maintain this, you just have to like respond to emails, once a day or
Yeah. That's the thing too. Oh
it's
my
like,
god, man. Especially with something like this, I could have never imagined, and it is true. It's like, if you wanted to just at any point in the day, go for a walk or take a day to not do anything, like, those reviews are still gonna come in. Like, you've set up the systems to where it can, for the most part, run without you,
yeah,
and that's another thing too. Like, it's just crazy to know that that's actually a possibility. Like, you basically have in high level and in all the automations you set up, you basically have like a bunch of employee robots that are doing your job for you. You just have to get the business owner and get them to trust you.
for sure. That's the key right there. But cool, man. Well, we close out here. What would you say
Cool.
to somebody who's, considering to get started with high level, maybe considering this business model, maybe considering joining the community that we have, the high level house community? What would you say to somebody if they're kind of afraid to take that
Dude,
jump?
literally just go for it. Like, stop scrolling, stop clicking on the next YouTube video. Literally just stop and just try it. Like give it a shot. I was the guy a couple months ago that was on my computer looking around trying to find these different business models, and I'm telling you, like, this stuff works. This community, there's so many people in there that are going to share all sorts of. That's the other thing I found in the community, like, everybody is so willing to share what's helping them, what's making them succeed, that, like, when you join this and you give it a go, you're gonna be surrounded by, I think it's like up to almost 800 people now that are going to be helping you out, that are gonna be, commenting and saying great job and all the rest of the stuff. So I guess number one is you're not alone. Like, even though it feels like it, and I still feel like that most days, you're not alone. Like, there are so many other people that are out there not only doing this business model but others. So yeah, just give it a go, and then don't quit when it gets hard, just like Alex Hormozy says, because it's so fun to think about starting a business, and then when you call somebody and they tell you to, like, you know whatever it is, it's, yeah, screw off or whatever else. Like, it kind of brings you down to ground level real quick of, like, okay, this is going to be a lot harder. It's not just, you sit in bed all day and watch money come in the bank. Like, you really have to build it. So just keep going, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Hayden, I love it. We're gonna have Hayden's community linked down below in the description. You have a community where you're just kind of documenting the stuff that you're doing, right?
100%. Yeah, I'm not really teaching anything. It's literally just videos of me, like, with every $1,000 I add, and then some of the mindset tricks that I'm kind of using to keep going, because, like we're talking about in here, it's very hard to, wake up every day and keep grinding. But yeah, so just kind of documenting the journey, and then some things that have helped me, and it's been cool to have people message me and say that it helps them out.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that the cool thing about this little podcast here is that I feel like we have done a good job of accurately reflecting how challenging it is. I think that most podcasts or YouTube videos or whatever are like, hey, here's this opportunity, make $1 million. And I try in every single one of my videos to say, this is simple, not easy. This is simple, not easy. And I think we've done a really good job of accurately saying, like, yes, this is amazing. Because it is. It really is an
Right.
amazing thing. You make it work and you work hard or whatever. But we've also said, hey, this is not going to be easy. This is not just going to happen overnight. It is a challenge. I think we've done a good job of accurately, portraying that to the audience. So if you are listening to this and you're still kind of like, all right, maybe this is it for you, then you might actually have what it takes to make it happen.
100%. And I think that's one of the things I resonated with you most at the beginning. Was in every video I watched, it was a reminder that, like you said, it is simple. Like, it's a simple process, but it is so far from easy. And it was so refreshing to have somebody, not just the 19-year-old making $1 million a day or whatever, and just finally have somebody say, like, hey, this is actually super hard, but if you're willing to put in the work, you can make it happen. So 100%.
For sure. Well, we'll have all Hayden's stuff linked down below in the description. If you want to join his community, feel free to. And we'll also have the link down below to get an extended 30-day trial to HighLevel with my link down there. And you'll get access to the community, all our snapshots, bonuses, yada, yada. You know the
Let's
drill.
go.
Yeah, thanks for hopping on, Hayden. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it.
See ya.
See ya.